Welcome to Seeking Alpha, the podcast where we're diving deep into crypto, careers, and the chaos of modern dating. I'm Larissa Bunziak.
And I'm Lindsay Poss. Together, we're two women who somehow found themselves at the intersection of crypto Twitter, Silicon Valley, and Tinder. We're going to dive deep into topics on all of those together. And for me, I am so excited to be back in the saddle podcasting. Larissa, this is your first rodeo. How does it feel?
It feels great to be losing my virginity, Lindsay.
I like that you put it like that. Just we're starting strong with the dating references. So tell me, to start off, we wanted to level set on what we're doing here and why we're doing it. So how did you get into crypto?
I was working at a PR agency. That's what I always wanted to do. And
red flag, by the way.
What the fuck is funny about that?
I always wanted to work at a PR agency as a red flag.
From a young age, I wanted to be Samantha Jones.
Oh.
I put her
on
a project in 9th grade when I had to do a mood board about myself. And the teacher got the reference and she appreciated it. But anyway, I always wanted to work in PR. I did work in PR and now still do, but I joined an agency. It was a lifestyle agency because I wanted to do beauty, glamorous stuff, which actually sucked ass. Yeah.
Very the opposite of where we are currently.
I know. I'm getting to that. I specifically avoided tech and finance, actively ruled those out of my LinkedIn search when I was applying and ended up joining this lifestyle agency. There was one crypto client that came in during the height of the ICO boom, and I was the only one. I thought that when the founder met with the team and was like, whoever wants to join this account, email me and you'll be on it. And when I emailed the founder, I thought oh my God, there's going to be such a list to get on this account. I hope he chooses me. And I was the only one who emailed him. So I got to work very closely with the team. And
nothing like a zero competition job.
Exactly.
Those are always the best ones.
Obviously did an amazing job as a 23-year-old navigating all this shit that I had no idea about. But I worked closely with the team and they onboarded me onto crypto. And here we are.
Oh, so you went the early adoption route. I got into it. I went to a nerdy college and
Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid that.
Shouts out.
Ivy
League.
Well, not quite, but shout out anyway. I played basketball there too. So if anyone ever wants to talk about sports, I'm your girl.
I'm not your girl. Okay.
Yeah, I can carry the team for that one. Don't worry. And in 2012, actually, a lot of people in my dorm room were using Silk Road at that time to buy fake IDs and weed on the internet. So this was 2012, 2013.
Free Ross Ulbricht.
Free Ross Ulbricht, yeah. But anyway, so that's kind of what everyone was doing at the time. And I remember I actually did not... Funny enough, I did not have to buy a fake ID because someone gifted me one, and I would use
the best.
I didn't drink until I was 21. Actually, I used to use it to DD my friends.
Shut the fuck up, Lindsay. No.
I know. I was kind of.
I need a new podcast.
I was nerdy at a nerd school. I was known for being nerdy at a nerd school, so that's where we are. But anyway, so everyone had said at the time, oh, you should buy Bitcoin. You should get into this, and I was like, a Bitcoin is 1/3 of my meager net worth at the time because I was 18 years old and had not had a real job up until that point. And so I didn't do it. But then I think it was 6 years later in grad school, I kept up with the blockchain space and with crypto. And I wound up writing a paper on how to develop digital identities to identify Syrian refugees. At the time I was getting a grad program in public policy. And I really saw blockchain as the start of a solution to a lot of programs that refugees, migrants, underdeveloped countries face. And so I became super interested in the infrastructure side.
Yeah.
A lot like you, I totally stayed away from all the finance stuff. Even now, I don't know if you get this, but since I work in crypto, the first thing people ask is, what coins do I buy? Do people ask you that?
Oh my God, yeah. Should I buy Doge?
Yeah.
I'm fuck off. I can't even entertain this conversation if that's where you're starting.
No, I know. I, to this day, don't really mess with investing too much.
Yeah.
Very lightly, but not... I've never been a meme coin person at all.
Really? I thought you were. Aren't you a proud degen? Is that just ETH?
In internet personality only.
Oh, okay, fair.
Not with my money. I'm about my money.
That's true. You're an investment property in Bumblefuck.
Yeah. Stop making fun of West Virginia. I'll get all the cousins to come after you.
Chose to invest in a property where they fuck their cousins.
Yeah. That's where the money makers are, babe.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to edit that out because now we fucked demographic.
I know,
West
we
Virginia.
can't insult West Virginians. Love y'all, about to move there. But yeah, so I've always stayed away from the financial side. And I think like you, I was actually like very intimidated by the finance part of this at first.
Yeah, it was less intimidation and more like, ew, boring.
Oh, good for you.
Crypto and dating parallels. What do we think is most sentient?
Okay, so to be in the crypto industry, there's a couple of things that you need. The first is a great amount of fortitude.
True.
I would say that parallels dating very strongly.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
As it takes the same amount. The second is that you need to be willing to waste your free time on bullshit.
Yes.
That's also
The
what
most
dating
bullshit,
is like.
yeah.
Yeah. The third is that you're extremely ready for ups and downs. Like,
Yes,
very
resilience,
ready.
the most important quality in both crypto and dating.
Yeah. So fortitude, spending your time on bullshit, and
Yeah.
resilience.
What more could you want?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how has being in crypto impacted your dating life?
Okay, so like I tend to go out, I guess, with finance guys because I'm in New York, maybe, or maybe I
You
just
should move to DC.
gravitate. Fuck no. Maybe I should.
Oh, good. We're insulting 2 geographical populations now.
I guess I just maybe gravitate towards them because they look a certain way, and that way aligns with my interests. But
That's honestly not the answer I was expecting. So you
Well-
are looking for 6'5" Blue Eyes Trust Fund, man in finance.
more like tall, dark hair, fit, smart. And you have to have some degree of intelligence to be in like investment banking or working on Wall Street, unless you are a Nepo baby, in which case I'm not interested.
That's true. I also think I always worry about, do you know the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Yes, but I can't think of what it is right now.
Yeah, it's fine. Dunning-Kruger is that it's not always the smartest person, it's the most confident person that gets the job.
Yes.
And that's what I always think of with men in finance.
Okay, fair. Well, I do like confidence. But yeah, so whenever I'm on a date with any of them, they'll be like, oh, yeah, crypto, blah, 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 and say something just so stupid about it. And I will factually correct them. And do so in a relatively polite way, like relative being like very sassy, but also like not undermining their intelligence that they have in other fields. And it always upsets them. Like always.
Okay, so that confidence,
especially when
the confidence you go for is more of the sheen of confidence.
like the confidence in that they're confident in looking like an idiot in front of me.
Perfect.
Yeah, and so that's always a challenge. Also, trying to date like-minded men in crypto doesn't really often work physically because it's more like the nerdy types who don't care so much about being fit, tall, brunette, etc. And what I'm looking for, like, I don't know, dye your hair if you're blonde. I mean, not you. Oh my God. Sorry. Not you. Men.
What we're learning in episode 1 is that Larissa's strong suit is insulting people.
I am not nearly as much of a bigot as I'm coming out. And this is why I was nervous to record.
That's going to be the opening line, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm not nearly as much of a bigot as I come out to be.
The last time I was broadcast, I insulted an old man, allegedly. And
I don't think that was insulting. You need to tell that story.
It was not insulting, but people, my mom, took it as insulting and as though I was yelling at an old man on television when I specifically tried to avoid committing elder harassment on TV. Like, I easily could have gone on being like the Cash Me Outside girl and been a billionaire like Bad Bobby.
Is that her name? Bad Baby.
But it's like bad.
It's Bad
Baby. Like, I don't know what that's how
Baby.
it's spelled. I easily could have done that and like ripped this old man a new one, but I tried to reason with him.
Well, you need to level set with that because this was also on Dr. Phil, much like Bad Baby. By the way, she makes an average of $52 million a year on OnlyFans, so she really went from the Dr. Phil to millionaire pipeline. And that could have been you.
It's only one of 7 revenue streams that she has. Because don't all wealthy people have 7 revenue streams?
I thought you specifically knew Bad Baby, so I was like, wow, we had a lot more Bad Baby facts in this first podcast I was anticipating.
Oh, God, way more than I ever could have watched in this entire show.
Anyway, so tell me about being on Dr. Phil.
So I was in an article actually about crypto and dating on Refinery 29, and the producer of Dr. Phil, for whatever reason, FOMO extended to Dr. Phil, and he wanted to do an episode on crypto. But obviously, I know, I had to tie it back to something. So it was, I guess, broadly about FOMO. And it was kind of like the psychological reason for there being FOMO. And
Gotcha.
perhaps Dr. Phil should have addressed himself on this episode because clearly he was having FOMO.
About investing in crypto.
About missing out on crypto, and that's why he did this episode. But
yeah, because this is in 2022, right?
Yeah, I think so, 2022.
So it was like peak bull run.
Yeah. And so he had different types of people on. He had a guy who's in his early 20s and was a Bitcoin miner and was making like $1 million a month. He had this other guy who's in his 30s and ran a really successful YouTube show about educating people on crypto. Mm-hmm. And he had an 11-year-old girl who was making fucking $1 million a month or something like that with Belugies, which was...
don't even know.
An NFT project of beluga whales. And they were like clip art. And Perfect. This girl, was making that. Oh, and then me, who went on record saying that I value my professional life over dating. And my professional life happens to be crypto. And apparently Dr. Phil thought that was an addressable topic on his show amongst all those other very successful people, including an 11-year-old who fucking made NFTs.
So it's like 4
whales.
Millionaires who are wildly successful and you being like, I love it more than dating.
And then our villain on the show, who was not revealed to us ahead of time, was this guy who is publishing a book called BitCon. And he was sitting across from me. And as I came on, like before my interview, before they were taping, he was like, oh, this girl hates me already. I can tell. And one of my biggest triggers I've since realized is when people have perceptions about how I feel about them before I've even interacted with them. Like, it's very annoying.
Totally agree.
Because I generally feel neutral towards everybody. But then when people think because of my face or my stance or anything else that I hate them, which now that I'm saying it out loud, I guess is kind of valid sometimes.
No, I get what you're saying, though, because that's a point of self-absorption.
Yeah.
That's quite frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not making any face, actually. Please stop.
Yeah.
Please stop relating how I look to your own life. That's completely irrelevant. No,
but then they say something about it, which is like the trigger. And
keep that in your head.
I was neutral, but now I obviously don't like you.
Right.
And so I guess I was a little rattled. He definitely ruffled my feathers without me realizing. And then as I was trying to explain what Bitcoin and blockchain was and why people should believe in it and why I believe in it, he kept fucking interrupting me and saying the worst non sequiturs I may have ever heard in my entire life. As I was talking about El Salvador adopting Bitcoin as currency there, he interrupted me to talk about MS-13, which is a very deadly gang, a very problematic thing in El Salvador.
But that's also like a bit, jumping to the country's worst part, that's like being like, the U.S. has a strong economy and being like, well, they have school shootings. Like, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously.
And so he would say stupid shit like that. And it was very off-putting to me on national television. And if I could do it again, I would. And I would do it in a much more responsive way versus reactive.
I kind of liked it, though, because you interrupted him back, and I appreciated that.
I tried to.
You did great.
Anyway, let's talk about you being in that music video.
I thought we were going to wait a couple episodes to drop this in. I thought this was going to be in part of the Pepe
We're trying
episode.
to hook people here, Lindsay.
Yes. So crypto, there's many reasons why I love this industry. First of all, I want to say that off the bat. Like, we talked about how we got into it. I know I'll never leave anything like this. It's so fast moving. It's so exciting. There is obviously there's a reason why it has a bad rap, because things like poorly drawn beluga whales can sell for millions of dollars by an 11-year-old. And that is just wildly unserious in a way that is almost incomprehensible. There's also some of the coolest stuff ever happening in crypto. And that's the reason why I can never leave it. So I love it. I love it as an emerging technology. I think it has the potential to truly change lives and change the way we interact on the internet. And I want to put that out there early on so that everyone knows why I continue to stay in this industry. Because with that being said, I have had some of the goofiest, most unexplainable things happen while working in this industry. It is for sure the Wild West out here. It is an early industry. It kind of started in Bitcoin white paper was 2009. Things kind of started taking off around Silk Road time, 2012, 2013, with the ICO boom in 2017, which was like really where all the finance bros got on board and started trading. And then the 2022 bull run happened, and that's when we had DAOs and NFTs and culture and all that stuff. So it's a very young industry. Like really only the last 5 years have been kind of relevant or important to like the average person. And so we imagine like any other industry in the world.
Yeah.
Like decades,
yeah,
sometimes even centuries of
Yeah.
experience with said industry.
yeah,
This one is like brand freaking new. So there's no rules yet.
yeah.
Like,
Which is what makes it so fun. Like,
Yeah.
fuck rules.
and well,
I mean,
to
sorry.
you.
Yeah.
I'm like definitely more uptight than you are. So I'm kind of like, maybe we should have some rules. But no, that's why it's a good balance. So I've definitely had some of like the strangest things happen. And the OG community, the Bitcoin community, is the one that's kind of been around for the longest. And I feel like there is the most range in the Bitcoin community. It goes from the craziest, nuttiest, full conspiracy theory, building a bunker in their backyard people, all the way to some of the smartest people you will ever meet who are rethinking power grids and infrastructure and how to solve these like massive global problems. So like huge range, right? So I've gone to the Bitcoin annual conference 2 years in a row now. And the first one I went to was in Miami last year. And as part of that, I met a group that was putting together a song based on Pepe, the famous meme coin Pepe.
Pepe has BDE, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
another time.
coming up later. Larissa thinks Pepe has BDE. I am less convinced. Anyways, we can argue about that on a later pod. But yeah, so I wound up being in a music video for a song that was all about stacking Pepe, wearing the mask at a nightclub in Miami and dancing in the background, also running into the water. I was wearing a very expensive dress, by the way. It's like a $300 corset dress, and I ran into the water at night when the eels come out. That's what I heard. I don't know. And
Okay,
it was an experience.
question, was the club 11?
It was not 11.
Importantly.
Yeah.
Follow-up question, how did you get there?
Oh God. Okay. So I was at a Nulta show, and they do really cool art stuff. So they always have like performers and like just really cool people there. And I happened to meet this company that was doing this Pepe music video production.
As they do.
Yeah. And that very evening they were filming for it at that very party, and they handed me a mask and said, get on up there, basically.
And I still think this was at 11.
And actually it was at the Sagamore, if you've been there.
Oh, yeah.
At SLS.
Yes, I've been there.
Mhm.
I went to a Maxim party there, but was not in any music videos, unfortunately.
Take me to the next one.
Yeah.
I was going to say we should probably do a podcast just strictly on events, which speaking of, we should talk about kind of why we decided to start this podcast. I know we talked a little bit about it being crypto and dating parallels, and obviously we're going to have a lot of fun and share stories from the industry and all that. But what was I've been in podcasting, and now I've been in the industry for a while. Why did you reach out to me to start this up?
Because we just have so much to say. And if I also individually have so much to say, and if I keep it in, I might need to be institutionalized. But also, yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about being a woman in crypto that is not being said. For example, there are a lot of women in crypto, and the narrative about it being just a guy's thing and there not being enough women, which might be true, is not the whole narrative. And I think it's important to talk about that.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. For sure. I think that because we are such an early industry, there hasn't been as much weight of expectations for people who join. I will say, from my perspective, there is a total difference between what Chris Dixon calls the casino and the computer, and we'll get more into that later. But essentially, to me, crypto really is split into two industries. And the casino side is the gambling, finance, heavy kind of TradFi influence. TradFi is traditional finance for all my non-crypto listeners. Heavy traditional finance kind of influenced industry. That one I do feel is male energy dominated for sure. On the other side are the people who are genuinely interested in the technology, in building things, in use cases, in providing different avenues for people to pursue their dreams. And that side, all the kind of infrastructure side, which does overlap with gambling and speculative markets, of course.
Yeah.
But that kind of infrastructure side, I have found to, on the whole, be incredibly warm and welcoming. There isn't the weight of an industry that's been around for decades. There isn't the expectations of all of that happening. And I have made incredible friends of all kinds on that side. And I think the difference for me, to your point about maybe there's not enough women working in it, the difference to me is not that there's maybe not enough women, which there might not be. It doesn't have the male-dominated energy. It feels more neutral.
Right.
It feels more welcoming. It feels like you can get along. So even if that side, say, has 80% men, the men that are in it aren't as difficult to deal with as the men who come from traditional backgrounds that have financial interests.
Yeah.
And so that difference in energy is really what attracts me to the space and keeps me in it. I don't have the statistics on the gender breakdown of that side.
Yeah.
But I have truly just made the most fantastic friends and had the craziest opportunities as a result of working on that side. And it's really people that are so invested in the future of our world and the future of the internet and innovation. And it's every day, like, you get to meet someone who's doing something fun and interesting. And so for me, it's like, it's totally that difference in energy that keeps me in crypto. And I want to like highlight that more.
Yeah, no, totally.
I want to talk about that.
I think what you're talking about with the culture thing is so true. I have friends who work at the big four accounting firms, other major financial institutions, female friends who've had experiences of their superiors or even contemporaries at their companies who are men talk in front of them about plans they had after work. And it was like team bonding events where the women were explicitly excluded, like not even subtly or secretly. It was like as though they didn't exist. And in crypto, while there might be some male energy, i.e. a lot of events at strip clubs, women are always invited to the tables.
I want to put it on the record that women like going to strip clubs.
Yeah.
Some women, not all women.
We cannot make blanket statements, but like,
I know. I'm a woman.
Like, I have met like very few women who would prefer not to go to a strip club.
Yeah. Especially with a bunch of other women.
It's
so fun.
That's true. Well, I haven't necessarily done that, but
oh, it's so fun.
Okay. maybe we can recruit a group of women to go.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm with you on that. And unfortunately, like, the cultures in other places just aren't, they're just not as friendly as I feel they are here. And to your point about us sharing stories about that, I don't even necessarily want to share stories. I mean, these will be from the female perspective because that's who I am. But just sharing stories about this side of the industry that is really, really driving the future. Like, I wake up every day genuinely excited to work in this industry. Like, I think that's so rare. I was actually really against working on your passions for a long time.
What?
Yes. Well, because okay, so obviously as a basketball player, like, I wanted to be a professional basketball player. I was very good in college, and I had the opportunity. And kind of weird, I actually have a Kobe tattoo, but he's one of my favorite. I have a Michael Jordan tattoo as well. But yeah. Anyways, but I remember reading an interview with him when he was 37 and talking about his bedtime, like his team instituted bedtime. And I thought, okay, wow. So when you do something you love, it really becomes
brings an 8:30 p.m. bedtime.
Yeah. Like, it just brings all these rules and these things along with it that make you not in it for the love of the thing that you love anymore. So I was kind of against working on passions for a while. I know everyone says, like, do a thing you love and you don't work a day in your life. I'm like, that's bullshit. You actually just work on what you love and you turn what you love into work. So I was against it for a while. I have since found a balance where I genuinely do love the industry that I work in. Yeah. Where I have an amazing, amazing day job that I really, really enjoy. But I get to do things outside of that too within the industry that I also love, like this. Yeah. And so for me, it's been more about finding the balance between, like, okay, this is a thing that I'm doing for the love of the game, and this is a thing that I'm doing because I work at a great place and I get paid and I'm invested in the mission that they have. And I wouldn't say that, like, I am super passionate about my exact job, although that could probably change, but I am definitely really happy to be in the industry that I'm in and to be at a place where I'm not, like, arguing with anyone or without it being ugly. So that's where, I don't know. I think that, I think working on your passion is bullshit. I feel like you disagree with that, though. I want to hear about it.
I do disagree. I mean, whatever you feel most intensely about, I feel like you should be doing full time. because you spend 40 plus hours of your life working, and why would you want to do something that feels like work?
Have you had a job that feels like work?
No.
Really? I guess though. Okay, so here's the difference though. You were so driven early on, like ninth grade.
Were you not? Okay, Carnegie Mellon.
No, but like I had no, I don't know exactly how to put it. You saying you had a mood board and an idea of what you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I continued on in school because I had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't really have a plan. I had always been funneled into things that I was good at.
Yeah.
And just done what I was good at.
Yeah.
But I never really thought about, is this a thing that I enjoy or not? I was just good at it and it made me money, so what did I care?
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as I didn't hate it, I was fine.
Ugh. But isn't that so boring?
I had a life outside of work. That was not.
Oh. Oh, what is that like?
Well, now my life is work, and I'm also very happy. So I guess that's.
I mean, it's fun. Yeah, I guess it goes like hand in hand. Like, I don't know. I don't believe in work-life balance, but like work-life integration, where like
you heard it here first.
Yeah.
You can kill yourself for a paycheck. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's
No,
not
I'm
what I'm
kidding.
saying. Like, I just generally have fun doing what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously I try and find time to socialize outside of crypto stuff.
Yeah, like for example, hosting a podcast where you can still talk about crypto stuff.
Exactly. You still work it in. Or having a
fun
captive audience,
socializing.
like doing a girls' weekend with girls who are not in crypto and pontificating the whole time about it.
Oh my God, I do that too.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And
We
now
are
we're-
that we're that friend in the friend group
We
where I'm like,
both
please,
are.
like I'm like, don't ask me about my job unless you're ready to hear about it for the next 2.5 hours.
And now we're pontificating
I have a
with
PowerPoint.
microphones,
Yeah.
which is so much better.
I truly feel like I have like a stump speech ready to go. I'm like, what do you want to know?
You have a PowerPoint.
I actually I do
We'll
have
link that in the show
presentation.
notes. Which, like, how the fuck do we create show notes, Lindsay?
Oh, don't worry, I got that part.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I am definitely the friend that talks endlessly about what they do.
Okay. So what are we going to talk about for the rest of this podcast?
Oh yeah, that's what we were actually supposed to talk about is why we're doing this. I think that one of the things that we don't get enough of is like fun education in crypto.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is very serious and you have to understand technical details. You and I are definitely going to walk through some concepts and stuff.
Yeah.
Zero technical expertise needed.
Yeah.
So throughout this first season of this, we're going to explain things that we find interesting, try to hook it to dating and life parallels, and make it just like really attainable. I think that one of the things that bothers me the most about this industry, and people who kind of ask me about it, is they'll always say things like, oh, I can't understand it or whatever. This should be so easy you don't have to.
Yeah.
It should not be a heavy lift to understand what's going on. You don't need to understand exactly how a transaction gets added to the Bitcoin network. I had someone sit me down. I was at a tattoo convention 2 weeks ago. I had someone sit me down and say, so what is Bitcoin mining? And I was like, in what regard?
Also, why do you care? Yeah.
Right. That's what I said too. And that's what I said. I said, first, like, tell me why you want to know, because if you're going to ask me an investment question, I'm going to say stop, because you shouldn't. If you're going to ask me how you start a mining operation, I'm going to say stop, because you shouldn't. So it was this whole thing, you know, I'm like, it was this whole thing. And he wound up just being like, I just kind of want to understand what's going on. And I was like, okay, then you're going to hear me talk for 15 minutes about proof of work,
Yeah.
consensus agreements, all these things. You don't really need to know all of that
Yeah.
unless you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're going to go high level.
Yeah.
We're going to keep it fun. We're going to keep it fresh. And we're going to make it
Interesting.
attainable.
Interesting that what you say when somebody asks you about investing is stop, because I say park that shit in Bitcoin and forget about
Oh,
it.
yeah. Well, I meant more so investing in like a mining company itself.
Okay.
Like just,
Yeah. Probably don't fuck with it if
No.
you don't understand it.
no.
Also,
or
just even if you do understand it.
also like 49% of it is controlled by whales. Like
Yeah.
there's just
Yeah.
the buy-in margins are so high. And like this
Yeah.
is the kind of stuff where it's like if you're talking to kind of an average person, they're like, what? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, like you don't need to know. Just
Yeah, they hear,
Bitcoin
like,
mining is
buy-in or
how
whale,
is how
and they're like,
Bitcoin
I'm
works.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I actually had a family member, I think it was 2 times ago when I was in Chicago visiting family. She sat me down and she said, I want you to tell me what you do. And I said, are you ready to sacrifice the next 45 minutes? And she said, let's do it. And I was like, all right. And we really did go back and forth for 45 minutes. And I
Really?
explained to her so much about the technology and my
Yeah.
job and all that stuff. And it was
And
really
did
fun.
she get into it after?
Not investing, but she walked away like feeling better about it.
Yeah.
I guess so. That's funny because for me, like I want people to understand the potential of the technology, the fact that they're going to interact with it someday and to get used to it now and to feel comfortable with it now. So, and also to tell them that when they start interacting with it, they're probably going to have no idea.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it right now, basically.
Thank you for listening to us and follow us at Seeking Alpha Pod. Right?
Yeah.
Follow us at Seeking Alpha Pod on Instagram, Twitter, where else, Lindsay? YouTube, because we are too lazy and incompetent to make a TikTok. And also not Gen Z.
I know. Oh, these podcasts are going to live on YouTube. There's going to be like 5 views and I'm going to be like, hell yeah. Like when we get up to 10 views, I'm going to be like, we did it.
Okay, so I put a poll on my Instagram story asking if you and I started a podcast, if anybody would listen. And I got 21 votes as to yes. And so if we don't get at least 25 listens, I'm coming for those people who voted yes and don't listen. And they won't even know it because they didn't listen.
Oh, I will be personally DMing people.
But I will come for them.
Yes. But anyways, thank you all so much for joining us. Season 1, we're going to walk through some concepts. We're going to have some conversations. We're going to make it fun. Follow us, DM us with your show notes and questions. We're here.
Yay.